Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, the Iceman, Jeff Trinopole. And as always, I'm bringing you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio, home of Houday Nation. Now, if you found the show, do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button, smash that thumbs up. You guys are awesome. I said on Friday's show that I'd hoped to be at 900 by the end of this week. Today's Monday. We're at 903. 903 people subscribe to my show. I greatly appreciate every single one of you guys. We hit 900, I think, on Saturday. That is awesome. It is great. Again, I appreciate you guys. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors. Let's get this rolling. We are so close to 1,000. I'm less than 100 people away from 1,000. I'm not very good at math, but I got that part figured out. All right, guys. As you know, this show and every show is brought to you by T Properties. T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out their website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. All right, guys, we got a special guest today. And no, it's not Jeremy D. Jeremy Dimebag Dean, sometimes called Josh. That's what Anthony called you. And he dressed up for the occasion.
I had to do it. We got a great guest on today, so I mean, you got to dress to the nines, man.
Oh, I see. So I'm just here in a t-shirt and a hat backwards. You got a tie and everything on. All right, that's how it is.
That's
right. Show me up. All right, let's get to it. And none other than John. How you doing, brother? Welcome to the show.
Oh my God, I get my own title card. Wow.
Oh yeah. We do it
we're
big
big
here.
Time.
Yeah, we're big time. Oh yeah. we have over 900 subscribers now. We are big time.
Really?
And not to mention our Facebook viewers, way higher than that. So I mean, literally, Tom Hanks could be watching us right now. Just want to remind you, John.
Well, yeah. I mean, literally that could happen, but I seriously doubt Tom Hanks is watching this. That'd be really rude. I did have somebody from Germany comment on the show, so when I say it's worldwide, it's worldwide. You never know. I had a guy from Brazil talking to me about Bengals over the weekend on Twitter. So I'm like, you know who the heck I am? I'm like, oh, that's cool. So anyway, how you doing, John? Welcome to the show, brother.
I'm good. Thanks for having me, you guys. Bengals, Bearcats, Reds. That was my childhood growing up. And also, shout out Uncle Jeff. I got an Uncle Jeff in the West Side too. So this show I was meant to be on the show, I think, at some point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm Jeff, but we're not related, at least not that I know of anyway.
You could call him Uncle Jeff. It's up to you.
Oh, jeez. All right, let's get into this.
Yeah, man.
So we're not going to get Galladay. That's by the board. Now, the new Twitter thing, at least I don't think it got as big as Galladay did, but it's been Trey Day. Trey Turner. That's the one it seems like Bengals fans are trying to get. And then reports come out that Nick Easton, might be making a visit to Cincinnati. What do you think on the chances of either one of those things actually happening?
So obviously Bengals fans are really infatuated with Trey Turner because at this point, there's no really high quality starters available at either of the guard spots. And Turner is at least a guy with a pedigree in his past, a guy who entered the league at 21 years old, really athletic, really strong, made 5 Pro Bowls with the Panthers, really exceeded all expectations. I was really high on him coming out, but he is turned into an even better player than what any of us expected. But unfortunately, he's available for a reason. He's had injuries over the last 2 years. Unfortunately, his plays declined as well. But I think you're seeing such an infatuation with the idea of signing him because anyone else, like a Nick Easton, they could sign. It doesn't really move the needle. It's a marginal upgrade at best. And that could be what Turner is essentially if they ended up bringing him in. But he at least has the chance to be something a little bit greater because he has shown that before. And honestly, at this point, I have no idea. There are conflicting reports as to whether or not they actually reached out to him in terms of maybe taking a visit or offering a contract. So we don't really know what their interest level is right now with Trey Turner, but we do at least know there is something concrete with Nick Easton. I believe he will be coming in for a visit, or I guess a possible visit, which is what the original report said. So who knows? All we know is that they're looking at guard options right now, and nothing really is concrete.
Right. Now, have you heard anything about them possibly bringing Spain back? Because I actually was pretty impressed. I know Pro Football Focus, his grade wasn't that high, but my eye test, I mean, now I've been looking at, the Bengals guards, which haven't been a great great the past couple of years. So I'm kind of, see what I'm comparing it to. But what do you think about Spain coming back? Is there a chance of that, or are they looking into that, or what do you think about that?
I think there is a chance of that happening, primarily because they just have done nothing at the position so far, and that Spain is just someone that they know. And it was really all going to depend on whether or not, the new offensive line coach, Frank Pollock, wanted to bring him in and implement him into his own scheme. But I think it would be fair to give Spain at least that chance over the offseason and training camp to see what he can do with a full offseason with the team, with the playbook, maybe get into a little bit better shape than he was last year. Unfortunately, just wasn't the player that he used to be, especially with the Titans in that first year of Buffalo. Maybe just sticking him into one position would definitely benefit him because he played all over the line last year for the Bengals, and that did not do him any favors. So I think he's a better player than what he showed last year. But unfortunately, again, 29 going on 30, you're not looking at much of a high upside option. But because they haven't done anything, I definitely think that he's an option to bring back for at least another year.
Yeah. I mean, my thoughts are on the way the offensive line is going. I mean, I love that they signed Reef. But if they can get Easton and they can get Turner and they can sign Spain back, I think we give them at fairly decent prices. To me, that's the stacking of talent that I've talked about the Bengals needing to do, because we don't have it showed in the offensive line last year. The guys that were starting weren't that good, and the guys behind them weren't that good. So to me, if we're not going to get Sewell, at 5, if he'll be gone, or if they decide not to go that way, then the next best thing is a stacked talent. And like you said, we got to keep guys, I think, the same starting offensive line almost the entire season would be a good thing instead of mismatching and whatever we had to do last year.
Right. And part of that is staying healthy, which is unfortunately something they've never been able to do, at least as long as I've been alive. But I think that approach resembles what the Bills did in recent years, where they didn't really go out and target marquee offensive linemen. They just made sure that they didn't have any glaring weaknesses, and they just threw a bunch of pieces at the equation to see which one stuck. And I think that's more or less what the Bengals are trying to do. They just haven't really done it yet because, I mean, and people have been clamoring, where's the offensive line? Where's the offensive line? Like, if you notice, there are some pieces that have gone and signed elsewhere, but there hasn't really been like a splurge and teams that, signing these low-level offensive linemen just yet. We're now entering that phase of the offseason, which is just like last year when they signed Von Bell and Josh Bynes, and I think one or two other pieces that are still valuable, members of your team that will end up making your roster, but not really the guys that are highly sought after from the 31 other teams. So I think now is when you'll see some of that activity start to pick up.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing is like last year, we all got excited what the Bengals did. They didn't really do anything until about the second week last year. That's when they started really signing their, other than DJ Reader, but the rest of the guys like Bell and all these guys, that's when they got them. Go ahead, Jeremy. I'm talking. I'll let you talk.
Oh, dude, man, you're good. Good back and forth there,
hey,
man.
John, you like how he got all dressed up for you and everything? I mean, I'm
feeling a little underdressed right now. I just have my comfort clothes on.
Me too,
I could do a twirl. Do you guys want to? No twirl? No twirl. Okay, no twirl.
Nobody wants to see your backside at all.
You know what? Really, I've got a few questions for you, and hopefully you got maybe a little bit of time, but I won't. It's no big deal either way, man. First off, I was wondering, before even free agency started, how you felt about the organization deciding to keep Zach Taylor and Lou as a defensive coordinator when I don't even want to say they, but when Lou was coming off the worst defensive game in history. And the second part of that question goes to free agency. And I say, how do you feel about the free agency? Did we do enough on the offensive line? And how do you feel about the players? Do you think we've upgraded, downgraded, or we're almost level?
Well, so going back first of all, he cussed on my show. It's Armadillo. That's how we pronounce his name here. Okay. He gets a defense. That's the way we say his name on the show. Sorry, go ahead, John.
So going back to Taylor and Armadillo. So right.
Thank you.
I think they're just grouping them as one entity, I guess, because they both came into here and at the same time. It was a whole process, even getting in Armadillo in the first place. But yeah, it would have made a lot of sense for them to look in a different direction because of how the season ended and the fact that he just didn't really prove a lot before then. The injuries were obviously a huge factor, and that's something that they pointed to as to why to give him another year. But would have made a lot more sense to go out and find someone actually competent to give Taylor in what could be his last year. But it really does seem like they're just going all in on this year as like either you do it or you don't. And if Armadillo doesn't field a good defense in the first 8 weeks, it wouldn't surprise me if they fired him in the middle of the season and put the target eyes on Zach Taylor as the next guy to potentially go if things do not pick up. So, I really do wonder how much those 2 wins in December factored in, because it didn't seem out of the realm of possibility for them to move on had the season ended on a much more sour note. But at the same time, this is the Bengals, and they've given coaches at least 3 years to try to work things out. And from what I've heard and from what everyone has said, like, they're enamored with him, and that was the case in 2019. They feel like they made some progress with the offense before Burrow got hurt. So if that was just enough to give him just one more year, then I think that's what happened. As far as what they've done in free agency, it very much mirrors what they did last year, where they went heavy on defense. And the real upgrade compared to last year is that you're signing Riley Reif, who's a quality starter, over Xavier Su'a-Filo, who was a career backup, and just hoping that he can be a starter and stay healthy. I think that's like the main difference between those two paths. But in terms of who they added, when they added them, it very much resembles last year. Whereas they went out and signed a defensive lineman for one of the biggest contracts in team history. They added a couple defensive backs, and they signed a guy that they expect to start on offensive line. So it was entirely predictable. But I do think that just like last year, they had a different plan to start out. Like last year, they were targeting linebackers. I believe Joe Sherper was the main one. They didn't want to outbid the Jaguars. They changed plans. They went after Reeder and Waynes and addressed the offensive line later. This year, I believe they were targeting, either bringing back Carl Lawson or getting at least the multiple edges, and also looking at that guard market where was Tooney going to sign? How much was he going to make? Where was Zeiler going to sign? How much was he going to make? Unfortunately, I guess their price ranges were just a little bit lower for those two guys. Then they watched that happen, and then they kind of adjusted course. They saw Lawson go on to a deal that they weren't going to offer him to New York. They went on and aggressively got a replacement in Trey Hendrickson. They knew they needed to replace William Jackson some way, so they got a cheaper replacement there. They were aggressive in replacing Mackenzie Alexander with Mike Hilton. And then it did seem like they were desperate to sign at least one person at offensive line before that week ended. And I think they did a good job in getting a guy like Reif. So overall, they haven't done enough because it's only been 1 week of free agency, and not a lot of teams really do get better at this point. And so much of it is dependent on what they do in the draft and how much they develop the guys that they're already there. It's so much more on what this coaching staff can do with their guys now. This is primarily a Zach Taylor, Lou Anarumo roster, and it's up to them to really develop these guys into better players than what they are right now.
Yeah, there's barely anybody left from Marvin Lewis now. I mean, with AJ gone and Gino gone, but we had something. I don't know if this just happened while we're on the show, but Brad is saying that he's not happy with the Bengals not getting Trey Turner. As far as I know, he hadn't signed with anybody. Do you know anything that we don't know? Are we missing something?
No, he's still out there.
That's what I thought. So I'm not sure.
Come on, Brad, man. You're a good listener. I was hoping
Brad was breaking some news or something. I'm like, I haven't seen anything about that. So
now watch, he'll probably pop up something across the screen like, Trey Turner's gone. Just happened off the.
Now,
I mean, that does seem to be what it is, though. Like, people are so desperate to sign Trey Turner because they've done nothing. So anytime he's remotely in the news, everyone goes crazy over it.
Yeah. Well, that's what everybody's going nuts when we didn't pay $80 million for Thuney. Thuney. And I went on the air and I'm like, look, they're not. I wouldn't pay $80 million for Thuney because that would blow half of the salary cap. We couldn't really get a whole lot else. We could have got half the guys we got. So $80 million for a guard, God love him. I mean, I would have liked to try to get Zeiler, but I mean, I think Zeiler signed for 60? Is that what he signed? They offered him 30? Was that?
No. Yeah, I think he got $6.5 million a year for $20 million total for the Ravens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We could afford him off probably.
That would have been nice. But they did sign Kevin Huber back, our punter. Now, this happened right before I came on the air, and it's already blown up. Kyle Pitts ran a 4.46. Now, it's not official. It was on – yeah, that's fast. That's not, at the pro day or anything like that. That's just him on Instagram or whatever. So take that for what it's worth.
Oh, okay.
Well, one thing I didn't say this. Josh from Houday Nation said, he goes, well, John Ross was faster. Where did that get you? Now, I'm not saying at all that Pitts is Ross and Ross is – I'm not saying that at all.
No.
Just because the guy runs fast, it doesn't always equal to be able to catch the ball. But I think his catch radius is tremendous. And my opinion is if they stay at 5, I think they're going to get one of 3 guys. Either Chase is going to be there, Sewell's going to be there, or Pitts is going to be there. Or you can put Slater too. That's a 4. One of those 4 guys I think is going to be there at 5. I'm just not sure, which way it's going to fall. And at this point, I think the Bengals might just take the best player available unless they trade back. What's your thoughts on the draft and all that stuff, John?
So we know they're not going to trade up. That's just not something they do. I think the last time they did that was Kajana Carter.
Kajana Carter. Yep.
Yeah. So that's off the table. I know people have been saying, no, they got to trade up for Sewell. That was never going to be an option. I think they, like you said, they either just take whoever is their top player, depending on where the roster is at that point and just what their thoughts on those players, or they're definitely going to field offers to trade down. I think right now it's projected like 3 quarterbacks are going to go in the top 4 picks. Like at most, I don't think all 4 are going to be quarterbacks unless the Dolphins trade back, but there's probably going to be one quarterback that one team is going to like be intrigued enough to make an offer to Cincinnati. And it's depending on like how many of those 3 or 4 guys are still available. Whereas, Cincinnati going to take that risk to move back 4 or 5 spots, maybe one of them still on the board. I know NFL insider Ben Albright made his prediction that 3 quarterbacks are going to go. Cincinnati's going to trade back with the Panthers. Panthers go up to take Justin Fields. Then they move back and still get Sewell. I think for the most part, that we've heard in the last few months is that the NFL is not as high on Penei Sewell as a lot of media members are, and I think that there's some merit to that. Where there's no consensus offensive tackle number 1 in this class. There's obviously a lot of high opinions on Sewell, but I think people look at Rashawn Slater as the more finished product, and that kind of reflects in those final grades. It's not always about like potential and size and athleticism. Teams just want players who they know they're going to be good. And I think right now that opinion is more stronger with Slater. So if the Bengals are quote unquote locked in on Sewell, they may feel like they can get him after trading back from 5. So I think Sewell and Chase are the most likely options if they stay at 5, because their opinion matters more than the rest of the other league's opinion. Like they can just take him even if everyone else isn't completely sold on those 2 players. But if they do trade back, that definitely if Slater comes into the picture, and it's depending on if Sewell or Chase fall that far for them to take him.
Now, my concern with taking offensive linemen, and it's been this the entire. You can look back if you go back to any of our shows. It's just the history with the Bengals here in recent history, taking offensive linemen and drafting them. I mean, you go from Fisher to Boyehi to Price. I'm Jonah. I like Jonah, but it's still kind of he's only hadn't played a full season yet, so I'm not completely sold that he's going to be good. I hope he is, but that's where I'm always. I'm afraid to take it. Plus, Sewell hasn't played that much, and there's times that come out, oh, he's the next Anthony Munoz. Like, how many times have we heard that before? And then people say, well, Slater's better, but then Slater's got shorter arms and all this stuff. So I'm like, I almost feel better as if they could take either trade back or take. I really like them to take Chase, because I would love to see Chase and Joe on the field again, because I think they could destroy the NFL. But if they do that and you take, because this draft has a lot of linemen in it. So if you could sign a couple guys, veteran guys, like we already have Reef, if you sign another guard or something, and you draft guys in the 2nd and 3rd round to play behind them, and hopefully the next year, maybe they're good enough and they got better so they can actually replace Reef or Turner or whoever we sign a guard, or if we sign a guard. That's kind of that's just me thinking a good solution of what to do as far as the offensive line goes, just because of the way the Bengals have their drafts have been busts here in the last 5 years for offensive linemen.
So I think there's layers to that argument. Whereas you look at examples like Boyehi, Fisher, Billy Price, those like the main 3 whiffs that have definitely set them back for years now. But also I think you have to realize that like all those players were picked in the latter part of the 1st round. They didn't necessarily have their choice of their top prospects. I think when the Bengals find themselves in the top 5, more like in recent years, they've done pretty well. I don't think anyone would really complain about AJ Green or Joe Burrow or like maybe even an Andre Smith to an extent, because he was a solid player as well. So I think when
we got an argument about Andre Smith, I don't think Andre Smith was a bust. He wasn't like great offensive lineman that some people thought he was, but I don't think he was a bust. He was a serviceable offensive lineman at right tackle, I thought.
Oh, yeah. He's trying to say I can't stand Andre Smith. All right, I live in Alabama, but I'm a Buckeye. Schooled, raised. I'm a Buckeye, then through and through. And I hear all these Alabama players, And when he come here, I thought, you know what? I'm rooting on an Alabama guy. I really am. I'm, pulling for him 100%. And the toe and him being overweight. And I'm just like, man, that shouldn't be a number 2 or 3 guy to me. But you know what? He did give us I'd say a couple good years, and then maybe a little serviceable after that with his injuries and that kind of thing. I'll give you that, but I'm just not a huge guy on him. Not a bust completely though.
Okay, that's fair. If you don't want to put him in that category, that's completely fine. But still, I think if you're taking a Sewell or a Slater, that's probably the first offensive lineman off the board, and that's your pick of the litter, if you will. And right. I would assume that even with their past history with failures in development, I think this is a different case where these are prospects that are much just better coming out and have a lot higher ceilings and have a lot higher floors than all those other 3 guys. Like with Price, like that was the whole thing why they needed to sign a tackle in the first place, because they wouldn't be locked in at a certain position. That's what they were in 2018. Just it was terrible planning on their part to go into that draft needing a center, then advertising that Frank Ragnow as your guy. And had Frank Ragnow been available, he would have been the pick. And that whole draft looks completely different now. But of course, the Lions swoop him up right before them, and then they panic and take their next guy in Billy Price. So I don't think that situation is going to replicate itself this year, because you're probably going to pick the top of offensive lineman on your board. And if they fail to develop, they fail to develop. At least you had the chance to pick any one of them, and you had no excuses on that part.
And that's I forgot about that, how the Lions came and took the guy the Bengals wanted. And that's where I think the Bengals do a way better job of except for last year, everybody knew they were taking Burrow. But as far as the rest of the draft, what they're going to do, I think they do a really good job of keeping it quiet. Like Reef, we kind of knew a little bit, but that was just like right before. But even the signing of the free agents, I think, have been somewhat quiet, which is kind of hard to do in this day and age. But I think they do a much better job of keeping it quiet what they want to do at 5, especially this year. Because like you said, it depends on if they have a quarterback run and there's only like 1 of the 4 left, there's a very good shot somebody's going to say, hey, we'll give you this, and this, and you drop back and we get a quarterback. So that's where I think the Bengals could be in a very good position. And that's why I think it's good that they really haven't said what they're going to do or leaned one way or the other.
Right. And had they not drafted tackle, then the perception would be, the Bengals are absolutely going to take a tackle. And then that's how we're going to approach this. And, they're not going to have a lot of leverage in what they want, because they're going to feel pressured to take a tackle. And that's exactly why they needed to sign Reef in the first place. Now they have flexibility to take a guy like Chase, who you might feel is more comfortable to be ready to go and to play an equally important position, because right now they don't have another starting receiver aside from T and Tyler Boyd. Like you're fine if Auden Tate's your 4th guy, but you don't want him penciled in as your starter. So I think that's right now, if I were to lean one way, that's probably like where they would prefer to go. Even if they think that Penei Sewell is this all-world guy and he's great and everything, like that's not how you should approach it. If you think Sewell is just a better player, then you should take him. But they're kind of putting themselves in the corner where they need to address receiver pretty early.
Now, what's your thoughts on Waddle? Because he was the number 1 guy at Alabama before he got hurt this year, and I think people do forget how good he is. What's your thoughts on him? And I think it's a reach as far as the year he had last year to take him at 5. I think you drop back to try to get him. But what is your thoughts on that? Because he could be a good fit for the Bengals too.
That's really like my biggest unknown of last year. Like if Waddle hadn't gotten hurt, like how different would the entire landscape of the top of the first round be? Because Devonta Smith does not pop off the way that he does if Jalen Waddle is out of the picture. Jalen Waddle is more productive on the field at the same time as Devonta Smith when both were healthy, and he's just a more dynamic athlete, and I think teams would recognize that. He doesn't have necessarily the size concerns because he's just a denser athlete, and he's more explosive, and he's just quicker than Devonta Smith. So from an upside perspective, from what you can see on film against SEC athletes and what production could have been there, I think you're looking at Waddle as a top 10 lock had he not gotten hurt, and I think he would have been more on the Bengals' radar than he probably is now. I think that injury concerns and the lack of consistent production throughout his 3 years at Alabama would probably take him out of that conversation. And I think that's why they might see Devonta Smith as more of a safer, better player right now. But had he not gotten hurt, I would have loved to see what the opinion on him would be compared to Devonta Smith, because Devonta Smith does not win the Heisman if Jalen Waddle gets hurt. or doesn't.
Well, now what about Devontae Smith coming out now with his, I don't know, I don't have this written down, but he came out with how much he weighs. I know Chad Johnson was going at it with other people on Twitter today about that. Do you think that affects Devontae Smith in his draft now because of his size?
Right. I mean, the fact of the matter is there's not a lot of guys who are that lean at that weight that have a lot of success. I know people point up Marvin Harrison, Deshaun Jackson. Both those guys are just a little bit more dense than what Smith is. And never have I once said that Devonta Smith isn't a great player, wasn't a great player at Alabama, isn't going to be a very solid player in the NFL. I don't think that his weight is going to negatively impact how much success that he has. It's just a matter of how much success do you think he's going to have, because unfortunately for that size, he's not an all-world athlete. Like he does a lot of things well, and I think he's athletic enough to have some success, but it's never really been about the weight for me in terms of like, oh, he's going to get injured. He can't play in the AFC North at that weight. I think he does a great job of avoiding contact, just like Lamar Jackson does. People had concerns about him getting hurt for being a lanky dude, but that has never really come up yet. So until it does happen with Smith, I don't think that's the primary concern. My main concern would be how athletic is he for that size, and can he do the things that he did in Alabama in the NFL? I think he's still going to be a solid player, but for me personally, I don't think that's the investment that you make with a top 5 pick. If you take a guy with the 5th overall pick, you're expecting a career like AJ Green. That's like the best case scenario. That's what you should be targeting. And unfortunately, I don't think that is necessarily in the cards for Devonta Smith.
Another thing with Devontae Smith, I think he also nothing against the kid. He had a great year, but I also think he played in a great scheme. I mean, if you watch the national championship game, they had him running from here to here to there. You know, they had to chase him all over the field, and I think he benefited. Hello, you guys back? Hello,
Jeff.
Yep, right there.
Jeff, you there, dude?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
I can't see John. He's moving his head. What's up? I don't know what happened to our audio. Can you hear us?
There?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Okay, good. All right.
Oh, all right.
That was weird. Everything went black. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, it's all good.
All right. I completely lost my train of thought. Did you even hear my question?
No, I think I lost you after like the first sentence.
Yeah, that's good. I've lost it too. I've actually forgot what I was saying. What do you got, Jeremy? I've been talking away.
You're good. You know what, man? I from hearing what you're saying, I'm guessing from what the Bengals have done this year, like you answered me earlier, it's a lot like last year. But even though we're sitting here with all this defense again, and just one lineman that would be actually kind of different from last year's. When you go into the draft, are you having no doubts about just taking Chase and going with the horses that brought us here and bringing in Riley Reef, even if we don't sign any other linemen? If we don't, do you say, look, we need to take care of Burrow, get Sewell? Then, second question, just wanted to see what your thoughts were on AJ Green, Geno Atkinson, that kind of thing, them leaving. We gave them a good little goodbye. We got a cool group, Hoodie Nation, that put it together, and it was really cool. But anyway, just kind of wanted to see what you thought on from your perspective. How do you feel about it?
So I would not like to draft guys just for the sake of getting a 1-year upgrade. Like, I know that they don't have anybody at right guard, but if I'm using the 5th overall pick just to fill that need at right guard, I feel like I wouldn't be doing my job. I wouldn't be trying to build the roster in the best way that I can. I think if that is what you go into, I think you just gotta, like, you have to look at the bigger picture. You have to look at things in more of a long-term sense. And I think if you're more convinced that like Chase is just the better overall player for your team in the long run, then that's kind of how you have to work that out. Like, realistically, you can find someone on day 2 or maybe even early day 3 to fill that spot at right guard for you. Now, I know like recent history has not really indicated that that's possible for the Bengals. You can look at Michael Jordan as the best example for that. But yeah, I think that's you have to look at the draft from more of a long-term perspective. Like getting a guy with the 5th overall pick, I think Joe Goodberry said it best, that's a 5-year upgrade, not necessarily just a one-year fix. That's what you would hopefully do in free agency. And that's why ultimately I think long before the draft, they're going to fill that right guard spot with at least a placeholder. But yeah, that would be how I would look with that. But I mean, AJ and Gino, like that is the face of Bengals football for the 2010s. And like, I know Andy Dalton was the quarterback, but the team really did went on both sides of the ball as far as those two players carried it. And to see both of them kind of leave in a span of 48 hours, it wasn't like totally shocking, obviously, because we kind of knew that both those things were going to happen. But the fact that they both left in the same week, while the middle of this roster turnover was undergoing, it was kind of sudden and a little bit sad in a way. Because hopefully at least one of them does make the Hall of Fame and represent Cincinnati in that way. But I really do hope that they find success with their next teams and hopefully get more recognition before their careers are over.
Me too.
I hope they come back and sign a one day contract and retire as Bengals. Now, one thing I want to point out, when you're talking about the draft there, and one thing that I've been saying a lot here is if we draft Chase, then you got Chase, you got Pitts, and you got Higgins. Those three, I think it's as close as we've had to Chad, TJ, and Henry. I mean, that's a pretty good formidable group. I think they would kill them. I think they'd have a hard time covering all three of them, to be honest. And that's you're talking about. Sorry. Yeah,
I mean that's a top tier wide receiver trio right there. Like regardless of who the quarterback is, but the quarterback is only going to make them better. Like if you have a field stretcher in Chase, who's a dominant run after the catch type of guy who can line up anywhere and run all the routes that you need to go. You have a big body receiver in T. Higgins, who's a contested catch freak, who is developing a lot better as a route runner than we expected. And then you have the stable third down conversion guy, and Boyd. That's every dynamic that you can possibly dream of, and that's how you want to build your receiver core. And if it takes 2 second-round picks and a first-round pick to fill that, then that's fine. Like that's how valuable having all three of those guys on the field is. Like Higgins and Boyd, they can be fine as your top 2 receivers, but there's just something left to be desired about the lack of explosion and speed that really opens up the rest of the offense. And that's why it was so important last year for at least one of AJ Green or John Ross to be competent as a starter to really open up that offense. And when you had Auden Tate out there, again, Auden Tate's a decent player, but like you're not really threatening the defense in any way, and it becomes a lot harder for your offense to kind of move consistently, and you're relying a lot on big plays that unfortunately, like we saw, just didn't really happen last year. So Chase is that missing equation, at least in the short term, but also as a long term. He's 21 years old and he has the potential to get even better. So that's really where the whole aura of how good that pick can be.
And the thing is too, is what people always want to have. I've tried to preface this to Bengals fans is we have Joe freaking Burrow. We don't necessarily need a great offensive line. I mean, we need a good one. If we get a good one, Joe Burrow can make them all look better. Because I mean, look what he did with the offensive line he had last year. I mean, just think if they upgraded, I don't know, 2 or 3 notches and not 10 notches. I think that and having Chase would help that along. That because the biggest problem the Bengals had in the offense, other than not being able to run the ball, is the deep. We didn't get a deep ball at all. Now, I would love to see Joe Mixon actually run through a good line sometime too. But I guess my point is, I don't think they need to. It's not going to be in the world if they don't get Sewell or Slater. We can get somebody later on in the draft. But if we get Chase, that's a game changer right there.
Chase impacts your offense a lot more than whoever you roll out at right guard. That's 100%. Now, obviously, if Burrow gets injured again, then that's the first thing that's going to be looked at. And they still have to address it. But you don't have to. I agree. You don't have to do it with the 5th overall spot. You have to remember in LSU, that LSU offensive line, I think it was ranked 32nd in pass blocking efficiency out of the 64 Power 5 teams in 2019. That offense went because you had Terrence Marshall, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase running down the field and catching all these throws from Burrow. That was the strength of the offense. And you can see that kind of around the league, like Tampa Bay, Kansas City. These guys don't have great offensive lines. They have great playmakers and a quarterback that can put the ball wherever they need to go. That's the formula for success in the NFL. It's not necessarily having 5 dominant offensive linemen. You just need
it's not the Hogs of the 80s. They don't do that anymore. Yeah. That's the thing. That's what I'm trying to tell Bengals fans. Like if we get we can still get a good left guard. Left guard. And I mean, it could be Spain. I mean, I'm not saying, everybody keeps forgetting about it. I'm not saying he's the beat all to end all, but you get him, or if they can get Turner, I'm happy. If they could actually pull that off and get him and for 1 year to play right guard, that'd be great.
And we could even take Wyatt Davis most likely in the second round and have one, another one of the best guards. So I'm loving that I'm hearing you, John, on kind of on the Chase bandwagon like we've been, but we haven't forgot, and I know you haven't forgot watching Burrow get hit like he had been getting hit. But I do believe that there's going to be a big change in the guard once this draft is over. Already with Riley Reef, I can still see us bringing in some big boys in the mid round, at the latest mid round, and the more weapons you got, the quicker the ball you get out, the better line you have, the more time you give him. I'm excited about it, but I did want to ask you if you're excited about one thing. One thing.
I'm curious too. What question is this?
This is a hidden question I didn't even tell you, Jeff, because
do we need a drum roll?
John. Look, I've known John forever.
Look at this. Look, he's scared to death. You've scared the man.
I'm more intrigued than scared.
No. I mean, we've known each other forever. We went on a hot air balloon ride together when we was 10. All right, so just anyway, the new Bengal uniform, the new stripes. Is that the official uniform? Do you like them? Do you wish they were different, or are they not the uniform at all that we think they're going to be?
So I think they're very close to what they are. It wasn't an officially licensed NFL gear, even though it had those labels.
Hanger.
It was made overseas. It was made, I think, in China, and it was being redistributed on eBay. It was based off, I think, of the actual design, but it's not the official, authentic jersey. I think it's going to look very similar to that. And obviously, it's going to be presented a lot better way. It's going to be in pads on players, on Burrow, and it's going to look better on the actual player. But yeah, I think it is more or less what the jersey is going to look like on a hanger.
and you like it?
Yeah, I think it's okay.
Yeah, I do too. I the ones that I've seen on players that these
players, once we started seeing all players, I'm like, okay, that looks a little better. Sitting there on that hanger, I'm like, I don't know, like that or not.
Exactly. It goes with the flow. It's just kind of sharp. It's not too much going on. Like these jerseys, like that's Rudy Johnson jersey I got behind me. It almost reminds me of that one. It's just a white, but it's mesh. It's not this, nice stuff they got. It's a mesh, and he's got stripes on the side of it, and let's play ball. And that's don't mind. It's growing on me. It's growing on me.
Yeah, it's simple. It's fine.
Yeah.
So, John, I want to get to since I got you on the podcast, I'll let you go ahead. I know you're from Cincy Jungle. You do a lot of articles and stuff on there. What do you got going on that people might be interested in reading on there since you're on here?
Yeah, so we've just been covering free agency nonstop. We're just going to keep updating you guys with rumors and news and such. Obviously, we do the podcast on the website, the Orange and Black Insider, with me and Anthony Cosenza. So, latest news, analysis, everything Bengals. Definitely check us out.
Yeah, I got on the show. I wasn't on the show. I was commenting on the show to Anthony today, and I kept telling him, I said, "Hey, John's gonna be on the show today. We're gonna be talking bad about you behind your back, while we're on the show." But he didn't. I don't think he saw it. I was trying to make him laugh, but
he didn't even care. He saw Jeff's name and was like, "Screw it."
You're like, who is this guy? Oh my goodness. Anyway, I think I don't know how much time you got, but you give us a half hour, and I appreciate it, John. So I will let you go unless you got any breaking news you want to break on the Strawberry Ice Show here.
No, the only breaking news is the West Side is better than the East Side. I have family, like I said, on the West Side. I think the East Side's a little bit more pretentious for my side, but I'll always be down for some Price Hill chili. Shout out.
That dude. All right, now, okay, you're my favorite. Between you and Anthony, John's my favorite now.
Anthony's a West Coast guy. He doesn't know anything about Cincinnati.
Yeah, no, he doesn't know anything. He's out in California. I mean, come on, he's out there like, "What's up, dudes? Serves up."
Yeah.
All right, John. Well, appreciate you, man. We'll have to do this again sometime.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you. Take it easy.
Hey, thank you, John.
Who day? All right, that was cool.
No, hey,
I didn't know he's from West Side. West Side's the best side, baby.
Yeah, West Side, best side. You can't be guests like that, man. Whether they come from a team, whether they're retired, whether they're sports reporters. I mean, you're literally getting everything that you can actually know right here on this show for free.
Yeah, but we don't break news yet. We're not it'd be really cool, like a really big, like I could get a little press pass, and I can go to like the Zoom meetings and actually ask questions. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet.
Well,
probably not going to be, but that's okay.
if we don't have a guest on telling people like the breaking news, then we're letting the folks know right after or the next day for sure. Nobody's going to miss nothing. That's for sure.
Well, we were definitely all over the Cincy Jungle guys, because now I've had Anthony on and I had John on now. Last week we had Zim. This Thursday we're going to have Ace on. So if you guys ever watched the Orange is the New Black the Orange is the New Black podcast, they're the Orange and Black. It's so similar names, but anyway, Ace from the Orange is the New Black podcast will be on with us Thursday, so we can discuss. Hopefully there might be something signed, but I mean, look, I'll put it to you this way. This is the way I'm looking at it. And I kind of said this to John and you. I said, if the Bengals sign Easton, I think it is Easton, and Turner, dude, I'm good. Go get Chase. Go get us a weapon at 5, and then we can go get Wyatt Davis in the second round, another tackle in the third, or whatever. I'm good, because I think the whole thing I was saying was stacking of talent. I want to get Spain back. If you get all 3 of those, stacking of talent, I think is going to help, because all those guys are better than the guys we had last year, which isn't saying a whole lot, but I'm good with it, you know?
What shocked me was how Chris agreed with actually taking Chase, even if we stop now. Like, he wasn't totally against taking him anyway, whether we need Sewell or not.
I mean, he's got a point. I mean, the thing is, I know we don't get I'm not trying to say that that's not important. It is important, and I think it's very important. But if you can get Jamar Chase, then you have Chase, Higgins, and Boyd, and that's your 3. Whoo, dude, it's gonna be open for business on the AFC North, dude. We could be killing them there. So, and I know you got to have time to throw the ball, but I'm saying that's where they got Reef already. I think they're going to get a guard. Who knows? I mean, Easton. Another thing is he played guard as well too, so he's a guy that can play center and guard. So it could be a good situation for the Bengals. And he kind of said, throwing stuff at the wall, which maybe that's what they're doing to see what sticks. But
yeah,
if they can find guys in the draft to replace these guys once they're gone, that's another key thing too.
Yeah, and like Chris was saying, and it was a lot like we were talking about earlier.
His name's John.
I mean, why did I say Chris? John.
Well, hey, Anthony called you Josh, so we just call John. John Chris,
got you back, except I got the wrong one back. Anthony, you got one coming. I'll think of something, buddy. Sorry about that, John. But it was something that we said maybe today, a couple of days ago. I don't remember all of our conversations. I tried to just get drunk and not even think about them. But but it's gonna come down to, we're gonna get these 2 guys. We're gonna get one of them. We might get the other one. Fact of the matter is we bring back Spain, like you said, who you like, and I do too. I really liked him, and we still haven't seen Suafilo yet in a lot of games.
Play last week. I mean, because honestly, when Suafilo and Spain were the guards, our run game got better.
Yeah, they were decent. So you throw me another tackle, you get me Wyatt Davis in the second round as just a punisher, a pancake man. I'd be okay with that. I'd take the weapons.
Yeah, and the thing is, I had a thought in my head, and I'm trying to click on the comments, and I can't remember what I was about to say. But I mean, it's the thing that the Bengals, and this is why I like what the Bengals did with signing a Reef. They did, and John said this too, and I've said this on lots of shows, that they did not pigeonhole themselves where they have to take a tackle. They don't have to take a tackle right now. And you don't take most of the time, you don't take a guard in the first round, especially not the 5th pick. You're not going to do that. So to me, the writing is on the wall where it should be Chase if he's there. Now, that's a big if he gets there. Because but I do think there's a good shot because I think a lot of these other teams are front more quarterbacks.
Yeah, true. But Dallas, to your point there, bro, Uzama is not injury prone like Eifert was, bro. I mean, we're talking about 1 year, dude. I mean, he played pretty well first year, got injured a second, but Eifert was injured a lot, whether it was one thing or another. So I think we're a little better off on tight end than you may think, but I'm not saying that your opinion's wrong. It's yours, bro. And hey, even us brothers can disagree.
Yeah, like Josh said here, and I think it's going to start catching on when he catches touchdowns. You got Chase, Higgins, Boyd, Tate, Mike Thomas, and Zama. And Mixon. Let's go. The thing is, I think Mike Thomas is an underrated signing. Not that he should be a go-to man, but when Burrow was there, he was playing pretty good. Now they had a pretty good connection too. So, and all Tate, and that's the thing is, if you get Chase, that makes Tate your 4th, Thomas your 5th. I mean, that's where these guys should be. So does that make Chase your number 1? Now, I think Boyd's number 1, but Boyd, Higgins, Chase, Tate, and Thomas, I'll take that. I'm good. And mixing in the backfield, I'm good.
Yeah, and right now Gio's still in the backfield, and he's a pass catcher. So, I mean, unless we let him go to pick up one of these guards or something, which I'd be okay with that. But hey, still got Bernard back there, still got P. Ryan. We'll see.
Brandon's got a good question. Now, he said, if Chase is gone before 5, where do you go? Now, to me, if they are not going to take a tackle and you're trying to get a weapon, to me, if Chase is gone, then it depends on a couple things. Do you want? I would say personally, I would say Pitts. That's where I would personally go. But these are things they got to think about. If they're not sold on Pitts, then I think the other guys that they can get, like Devontae Smith or Waddle or somebody like that, you can drop back and get them. So
and get good picks.
Right. So that's where, I mean, if there's just locked in, they're staying at 5 and they're not going to trade down, and Chase is gone, I think Pitts is the next one that they would get.
Yeah.
But
and I'm not hating on Pitts either, by the way, guys. Like, I love him. He's got my dad will tell you, we sat and watched him live, and we're just like, geez. But he's not a tight end, though. I'm going to tell you that from what I've seen, he is a hybrid type play. You could throw him at tight end. I mean, the guy, he can block for you a little bit, but his main thing in the NFL is going to be wide receiver. I'd almost guarantee it.
I thought that at first, but the more I've read other stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if he's a not a tweener, whatever. I can't remember how Anthony put it, but he could be a guy that could be in multiple different positions. He could be a wide receiver and a tight end. That's where I think he might be. I wish I could remember the word that Anthony used, but it's not a tweener. Tweener's bad. Oh man, way to say it.
The guy's got nothing but talent, man. The only thing is, with the 5th round pick, do you want to take? Well, we're saying Chase ain't there, I guess, but
that's the conversation. What do you do if Chase isn't there? To me, like I said, if they're not going to take a tackle, which I'm not saying they're not going to, I don't know. But just saying if they don't, if that's not their, because put it this way, this is what I keep saying. I think out of the 4 guys, one of them's going to be there. I think Chase, Sewell, Pitts, or Slater. One of those 4 is going to be there. And just at 5, I think one of them is going to be there, and we're going to get one of them if they want them. And I think they'll take Chase, and I think they'll take Pitts. But I don't know what they want to do. They want to double up on the offensive line and really, really fix it. But which I'm not saying the bad thing. I don't think that's bad.
No.
But then you still haven't addressed the wide receiver thing, which you could get a guy, in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round, but he's not going to be Chase. Like, he's not. There's one guy in this draft to me that is the best wide receiver in the draft, and that's Chase. I mean, Devontae Smith had a great college year. I'm not sold on him as far as the size and everything goes. I know Chad Johnson has been saying I played at that weight, and yeah, but Chad was, I don't know, just. And I hope I'm wrong. Maybe Smith goes and balls out and plays great.
He probably will. He'll probably end up having a good year, just like the rest of some of these guys do. But it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, like you said, Chase is the best. I say if Chase isn't there, Sewell's there, Slater's there, and Pitts is there, we'll take Sewell. What do you think?
Oh, I think if you're saying if all of them are there, we're going to take Sewell?
Other than Chase. Yep.
So if Chase is gone, you think they're going to take Sewell?
Sewell over Slater or Pitts? Yeah.
I would think so, but I don't know because it's just if they sign another guard.
Well, yeah,
that's where I'm at. I'm like, if they sign another guard, then because this draft has offensive linemen in it that might not be they might not be as good as Slater or Sewell, but they're pretty darn good. I mean, this is a very deep offensive line draft. So that's where I'm like, Pitts and Chase are game changers. I mean, these guys could change your offense over the next 5 years, and you could still have a really good offensive line, and their names don't have to be Slater and they don't have to be Sewell, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. And I'm with you there. And it kind of sucks on the year we need linemen, not many great offensive, well, not linemen. We need tackles. We do need we got a guard. We may get another one, but we really need tackles. And, other than like guys getting paid 120, 80 million, there just wasn't much for us out there. So we're either going to say Riley Reef has 2 good years left. We signed him to that contract.
Well, he's only got basically a 1-year contract. That's all he's got.
Oh, I heard.
Well, the other year is voidable. It's a voidable year. So basically, he's signed for 1 year. The Bengals will pay him for next year, but he's not signed to play here. It's a voided year. So I mean, he could turn around and they could re-sign him again. But that's the way they signed him. And I got that from Cincy Jungle podcast. So John, I think you wrote that. Shout out to you.
That was a good one because I'm
really not that smart in it. I just read a lot of stuff and I remember stuff.
Well, I'm glad you said that because that makes it actually easier on us to sign him too, because it'll help us, especially him being here a year. And if he has a good year, it doesn't matter. He's still going to know his age is his age. And if he'll stick with us, that'd be great.
Too, is he also said his press conference, he played guard too. He's not playing where they want him to. So he's not, that's another option. Just say the Bengals draft Sewell. They move Reef to guard. So,
brings you right back around.
Right. So but that's the thing. That's where I like where the Bengals are at and what they've done. They've put themselves in a position with options. And that's what I've been saying this whole time. I didn't want to be pigeonholed where we have to take this guy, kind of like John was saying when they wanted the guy that the Lions got and they had to take Price because the Lions swooped up that guy. So at this point, if Slater and Sewell are gone, hell, even if, like I said, one of those 4 is going to be there. So we're going to be okay, I think. And if we decide we don't want any of them, you trade back and you get more picks. Yeah. I think we're in a good spot. I really do. I think the Bengals are in a very good spot right now.
Who wouldn't want to have 2 seconds and 2/3 or something like that? You know what I mean?
Right.
We'd have our own.
Again, especially with this draft of how it is full of offensive linemen. If you get 2 second-round picks, you can get 2 second-round tackles or a tackle and a guard or a tackle and a center. There's lots of things you can do. There's, like you said, Wyatt Davis could be there in the second round, and he's could be the best guard in the draft. There's a chance he might not be there. He might go first round. Who knows? But
I've heard different things about him. But man, if he's there, we want him. That's for sure. Guy's a beast, man. Just when it comes to run blocking, pass blocking, interior's a little different. Everybody's got to kind of work together, but. Man, when it comes to run blocking, he'll hit that second level and just knock a linebacker's ass on the ground. He don't care.
Well, and the thing is, too, kind of what John brought up, too, is we got to make sure that hopefully we get the same guys, the entire season. It's probably not going to happen but if you only have 1 or 2 injuries, but that's where I talk about stacking talent. So if you get Eason and if you get Turner, you get both those and Spain, that's stacking talent because somebody's going to get injured. I mean, it's bound to happen. It's football. Somebody's going to get hurt, and you got to have somebody that can step in that you don't miss much with. So hopefully they have the same 5 guys. You just can't play musical freaking chairs with your offensive line like we did the last couple of years. You got to have some kind of continuity somehow. And the more you have the same 5 guys in there, the more the continuity is, the better the line is, no matter what the talent of the team is, because the guys get better because they know what that guy's going to do. You know, if they make this move, I know that guy's going to be there, or he's not going to be there, or if they go inside, I got to slide over. They know it without thinking about it, you know?
Well, exactly. And that's just the whole deal about it. I can't understand why Cincinnati hasn't even offered a contract. Maybe they have, we don't know about it, but I would figure Spain coming in from nowhere, off the street. I mean, not off the street, but he's not
a top tier guy. He's a guy, like I said, they can kind of, it's kind of like Josh Bynes. I mean, I think Josh Bynes is going to be there, but I think there's bigger fish to fry right now. Not that Turner is like a huge upgrade, but he could be if he gets back to what he was. Those guys can still be there. So it's not, and I'm sure they're out there talking to him. It's not like they just left him off the side. I'm sure.
That's what I'm saying. I just, it wouldn't be, hey man, 1 year, $7 million, whatever, and be done.
Well, the thing is too, is they want to make sure that they get the bigger guys. Because Spain's not going to cost you that much money. Bynes not going to cost you that much money. Turner might cost you a little bit more, maybe. I mean, he had a bad year last year, so he might.
Yeah.
Easton, I don't think it's going to cost you a lot. But the thing is, you got to get these guys who you value, I guess, higher than you do Spain or something like that, because you don't want to give the money to them and then, or give the money to Spain and then you don't have the money to give to Turner. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm with you there, but at the end of the day, you got to sign him anyway. So I don't. So just come back to Cincinnati.
What's up with the tie? Are you trying to like fly away or something? Is it already bothering you?
Yeah, it was bothering. It was kind of choking me, so I lifted it up and threw it over my shoulder a little bit, guys.
You look like you're in an airplane.
I'm trying to do something fun, okay? All right. Wearing a tie at work.
Got all dressed up for John. Didn't tell me nothing about it. He gets on the show like, what do you have on your neck? I have a tie. I'm trying to look like Paul Brown.
That is a tie, my friend, and I am Paul Brown. I do look like a young Paul Brown. Come on, come in my office, son. And I got a piece of tape on me from where I taped my tie to my shirt, so it wouldn't.
You didn't have a tie clip. That's how often you wear a tie.
Exactly, no joke. It's tape rolled up, inside out, and then. All right, you stay there, Ty.
Exactly. Yep, I agree with Brandon. Here, Bynes, Daniel, Spain are all coming back. I think they are too.
I'm big on all of those. Actually, I love Bynes. People may ask, but I loved him when he was with the Ravens. But I love the rest. They're must-haves.
Now I gotta give a shout out to Josh because he's saying sweet background, haha. And actually, I gotta give a shout out to Josh because he's the one that created the background, and I appreciate it. I think it's pretty cool. I got the strawberry eyes and Votto and Burrow and Kenyon and all that stuff. So I appreciate Josh and he's his group is Who Dey Nation, and those guys have helped us out a lot here with the background. They put together the Ken Riley video. My daughter put the sound on. And just different stuff, different posts. I just some behind the scenes stuff, guys. If you ever watch the show, I'm not very computer savvy. So a lot of these new posts or whatever that you guys are seeing from Sports Strawberries, they're not mine. It's mostly Josh and Tommy are the ones doing it. And me and this guy right here are just sharing them everywhere and commenting. So I just want to make sure that I appreciate these guys and everything they've done for me and the show. And it's been a blast. So I hope you guys enjoy the stuff we've been posting and enjoy the shows we've had here lately. Because I've been working my butt off trying to get these guys on there. I'm still trying to get a Bengal. If anybody out there knows a Bengal that wants to come on my show, tell them to call me or Facebook message me on Sports Strawberry Ice.
Yeah, no joke. I was going to say call. Okay, no, don't want to do that. But yes, do anything. It doesn't even matter. And again, Josh, Tommy, Jen, all those guys over there, just great people at that group. The picture would look a little better with some
God, here we go.
with some scarlet and gray in it. But hey, you know what? Hey, that's just Ohio State. I'm just saying. I don't know. Love it, guys. Honest to God.
Well, Brandon says here Suarez is officially the shortstop. Now, I kind of find that interesting because wasn't it some guy? I think he's got a red face, and he goes by Strawberry. Didn't he say he thought that was not necessarily the best option, but really the only option is to put Suarez at shortstop, move Moose to second. I said bring Senzel, or move Moose to third. I said bring Senzel to second. I don't know if that's happening. I think Indy actually might be playing second. But I'm pretty sure some guy named Strawberry said that.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I'm kind of with you just with the whole the guy that's probably going to do it type. I heard something around like that anyway. Somebody could have told me, somebody else said that. I don't know, to be honest.
It was me, moron. I said it.
I know you, Jack.
All right, it's 6:30. Let's get the hell out of here. Let's get to the Facebook groups. That helped me live stream, and I appreciate every single one of them. First and foremost, Who Dey Nation, like I said, with all the other stuff they've been helping me with, I really appreciate those guys on that group. Cincinnati Reds, rounding third, heading for home. Bearcat Country. Look, Bearcat Country, I know. It's rough right now. Just be patient. For some reason, a lot of stories came out that the players aren't getting along with John Brandon. I know. I'm just trying to be patient and see what is going on because they're not firing him. So, like I said, if Terry's with him, Kenyon's with him, Corey's with him, then I'm with him. So, but check out Bearcat Country. Make sure you guys go join that group. And then the Ohio State Bucknuts. They let us live stream. I appreciate those guys. Kip, Gretchen, you guys are awesome. And then you guys can join the Ice Bar. It's a show page that me and Jeremy are on there. We do Silly Tuck Talks. We post a lot of different sports stuff that we put around at different groups and on Strawberry Ice. And like I said, the virtual bar. So you guys want to make comments, chit-chatting there. No fighting, just, virtual bar, hanging out, talking sports. Then I invite you to follow me on my Facebook page. It's Sports with Strawberry Ice, and it's blowing up. I love it. I have 792 likes. 847 of you guys follow me. That is awesome. I appreciate every single one of you. I'm also on Twitter. That's starting to blow up. Instagram, I don't do a whole lot on that. TikTok, me and Jeremy do a lot of silly different TikToks on there, so you can check that out. Now, hopefully I'll be putting on the podcast later on. I still got to try to figure that out. It's still kind of messed up. But if I do, check out the podcast. It's on BeanPod, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. And like I said, YouTubers, 903 of you subscribe to my show. I appreciate it extremely. We are less than 100 away from 1,000. So let's keep it going. Like I said, I can't believe we hit it, over the weekend. Let's keep it going. Let's see how fast we can get to 1,000. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors about Sports with Strawberry Ice. Like the show, subscribe to it, like the page, like all the Facebook groups I just said. And other than that, Jeremy Dimebag, sometimes known as Josh Dean. Can you get us a roll on out of here?
I sure will, man. And most everybody knows that my day job is not this. It's sales and marketing. So I want to throw a little marketing at you guys real quick. We are at, you said, Jeff, 907?
903.
903.
Yep.
So we are 97 away from 1,000.
Yes, sir.
If each person on Sports with Strawberry Ice on the page and on YouTube will just tell one friend to come join
904. Live update 904.
What's that?
Live update. We're at 904.
96. We just went up one. 96.
Yes,
if each of you will just tell one person, any sports fan in Ohio, they don't have to be Ohio fans, none of that. They can be fans. We're a sports show, but we are based around, Ohio sports.
Cincinnati, yeah.
Exactly. But just one apiece, guys. One apiece. We could be way over 1,000 people, we could be on to doing much bigger, better, funner, more guests, tons of, you never know what can happen. So if you guys would just do me that one favor, we have a little thing we call member referrals at my work, and you guys would be the coolest referral clan in the nation if you would help us get up over 1,000 and then start heading to 100,000. You know what I'm saying? Anyway,
big time.
I'm done rattling now. So now, since I've told you guys just one person apiece, that's all I'm asking. I guess from here on out, all I can say is, as always, remember one thing and one thing only. And that is, you don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati, so act like it. Go Bengals, hoo day.
Hoo day. And as always, that's just sports, baby. See ya!